Is the asking price for Kyle Kuzma too steep? And is Deni and Corey Kispert untouchable and why they should and should not be? We can talk about that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150, y'all, with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. So today we're going to ask an important question. Is the asking price of 2 first-round picks too steep for Kyle Kuzma? And we're going to look at Deni and Corey Kispert. Could they be untouchable? And should they or should they not be? So let's get into it, everybody. This is going to be a small little rant, but it is what it is. Again, I appreciate you guys rocking with me every single day. So let's get into it. Kyle Kuzma. Now, we're going to read a report real quick. This is through Legion Hoops on the Twitter, aka X, but it's per the source is Brett Siegel, NBA. So definitely check him out as far as a source for NBA news. He says the report is the Wizards are still seeking multiple first-round picks and trade talks surrounding Kyle Kuzma heading into the offseason. So let's dig into it, as the British say. Let's see. I'm gonna hit this from different perspectives. Let me start by saying this before I get into what I'm about to get into. Number one, I'm a big fan of his front office. I feel like Will Dawkins he's going to be a really good general manager. I think he already has shown that he can be. Obviously, there's a long road, and he has many moves to go before he can really solidify himself as being a good general manager. But I think he's definitely headed down the right direction. Big fan of Michael Winger as president of basketball operations and in charge of player personnel. Travis Schlenk, I think is going to do and has been doing an immaculate job. Now, I have pretty much agreed with probably 98% of what this front office has done. And I'm going to start by saying that I'm a big believer in this front office. I think this front office is going to get us where we need to go. Now, I've agreed with 98% of them, but I will tell you one thing that I have not agreed with. Let me start by saying Kyle Kuzma. People, I very often when it comes to not only in sports, but in society, period, we have to be put into camps, right? It's not really a free of mind as far as having an opinion. Either you're with somebody or against somebody. And I think that obviously when it comes to anything in society, especially sports, you can't hold that mentality. I like Kuz. I like him as a player. I like what type of player he has developed into since he's been in DC. Going from a role guy with the Los Angeles Lakers, becoming, a number one threat, becoming more of a complete player here, definitely setting roots into the community. We can open up restaurants, being very active in the community, doing a lot of stuff off the court, not only in the Washington, D.C. area, in the low-income areas of Washington, D.C., that is, but also in his hometown of Flint, Michigan, which we all know, water crisis, poverty, they have their fair share of issues also. So he's done immaculate work off the court. Now, when he was re-signed to a contract, it was a team-friendly contract. Why is that? Two factors. And you guys know me, I'm going to be 100 with what I'm about to say. I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to be 100 about that. When he signed the contract, there's two reasons. Number one, did he get his asking price? I don't think he got his asking price, and it's a big reason why he was retained in D.C. If he would have got anywhere close to $30 million, I don't think he's in the Wizards jersey. And let's be totally honest about that. If he would have got closer to $30 million a year, Kyle Kuzma would not be wearing a Wizards jersey. Now, he was signed to a very team-friendly contract, and there's two reasons for that. One, for him to not bog down the salary cap issue for the Wizards. We know he's a leader. We know what he can do as far as a player. And so his contract was meant not to bog us down. Two, his team was not only team-friendly for the Wizards and be able to add other pieces around them, but it was team-friendly for prospective teams who want to trade for him. It was a contract that it fits the needs both of the Washington Wizards and of other teams who want to acquire his services. So, when people saying that the contract was here for him to be long-term, no. The contract was team-friendly for those two reasons alone, which is if he's going to be here, he's not going to bog us down salary cap wise. Now, if you look at other contracts we have, obviously, Jordan Poole, he makes more money than Kyle Kuzma, but but obviously, not only looking at how it helps out the Wizards, it helps out other teams. That if teams want to go and acquire Kyle Kuzma, they don't have to break the bank to do so, which really puts us in the best position to get assets back. Now, what is that one issue I have as far as the front office, man? And I, like I said, big fan of Will Dogs, man. Like I said, I will be seeing him tomorrow. All love, man. But I'm definitely gonna be, asking him a little bit about the draft and about the Kyle Kuzma situation. But asking Kyle Kuzma what he thought and whether he wanted to be dealt at the deadline, I don't understand that move. Nothing is Kyle Kuzma, but let's be 100% here. How many times has he been to an All-Star game? I mean, has he been a number one option on the championship team? I mean, these are reasons why you need to talk to somebody to ask them if they want to be moved or not. You ask LeBron James if he wants to be traded or not. You ask Kobe Bryant whether he wants to be traded or not. You ask Shaquille O'Neal whether he wants to be traded or not. You ask Anthony Edwards whether he wants to be traded or not. I mean, we had to ask Bradley Beal when he was traded or not because we gave him that crazy out of this world Supermax contract. So is he the class of player that you ask him whether you want to be dealt or not? No, you make that move. And honestly, in my opinion, last year at the deadline was the best chance for the Washington Wizards to get 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. Now, if we went over a couple of videos ago about picks in the lottery where we could trade back into the lottery and scenarios where we very well could probably get 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. A couple areas. Detroit Pistons, they're one franchise where I'm gonna look at Evan Fournier's contract, but I believe he is a guy that I know they are definitely trying to get him off the books, man. So you very well could get a first-round pick this year's draft and one for next year just for taking a bad contract, Evan Fournier's contract. So Sport Track has him. Let's take a look at it real quick if it will hurry up. Let's see. He is this. Yep. He is a club option. So we'll see if they enact that. So he's not necessarily a bad contract, but I mean, he's making $19 million a year and is a club option. So, if they don't want this contract in the books, they very well could just let him walk. So I'm going to go ahead and reenact that bad contract. But I definitely think they can take on a bad contract and get enough. I think that's the best scenario. And if you look at the deadline, again, when you had a deal in place with the Dallas Mavericks, how are we going to attain those 2 first-round picks? By taking on a bad contract. That is the most realistic way you're getting 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. Like I said, for the 2% of y'all to just think you can't criticize nobody, I like Kyle Kuzma, but let's be real, this is a rebuild. And while we don't necessarily need to move Kyle Kuzma because we don't, there's not a necessity right now. He very well could sit on this roster for 1, maybe 2 years. But here's the thing. You have to move him to get maximum value. And you got to ask yourself a question. And let me go ahead and say this before somebody gets all upset, is that I'm not saying his value is going down. I'm saying it's not going to get much higher. There's a big difference. So his value ain't getting much higher. I'm not saying it's getting lower. So go ahead and pump the brakes, but it's not getting much higher. So you eventually have to move on. I mean, if you want to move him at max value, which right now I believe that right now is the time. So like I said, I'm not saying that we necessarily need to get rid of Kyle Kuzma, Lord. But let's be 100 about this. Eventually, you have to move on because eventually it has to be a youth movement. I mean, obviously, his age is not going to fit the timeline as far as the rebuild. And when we finally get to the point where we're contending, he's not going to be on the team. So you have to get value. Everybody's screaming about value for Tyus Jones. We have to get some value for Kyle Kuzma because you very well could not see us get anything in return for Tyus Jones. And yeah, we could probably maybe do a sign and trade, but you're not going to get. You very well. I'm being honest with y'all. You very well could see him walk. Now, there's reports that he could resign. That's a whole nother conversation. Obviously, there's a lot of dominoes need to fall. A lot of moves need to be made as far as roster construction to really get a clear picture of what they're trying to do at the point guard, whether it's Tyus Jones, whether it's Jordan Poole, whether it's somebody in the draft or whatnot. But here's the thing, the best case scenario of getting 2 first-round picks is taking on a bad contract. With Dallas, it was Grant Williams. You're not going to get outright. Look, you're outright, and you're not going to get 2 first-round picks outright. And if you do, they're not going to be lottery picks. So I mean, and I get it right now, getting all the assets we can is the biggest MO. And I agree with that. Definitely if we're going after the OKC model, which is accumulate draft picks and accumulate young talent. But, this is my rant for the day because eventually this is turning into the Bradley Beal situation. move him or don't, you have to move him at some point. Look, 2 first-round picks. Look, and this is just really it's frustrating. To be honest with y'all, man. Like I said, this is definitely a rant. It's frustrating because I do like Kyle Kuzma, but can we be honest? I mean, can we be 100%? He's not a player you build around. He's not a player you build around. And then you can like him all you want till you're blue in the face. The fact of the matter is this: he's not a piece that you're going to build around. So while you don't need to move him, eventually you need to move him if you want to get max value for his services. And so that's where I'm at. I think they need to make a decision. They need to make a decision whether, if you want him here long term, fair enough. He needs to change certain things about his play style to where it makes other people better, and then I'm cool with it. I like Kuz, man. Kuz, I've enjoyed him being in the Wizards uniform. I'm not saying we necessarily have to go out here and move him. But here's the thing. If in order for us to retain him and for him to be part of this team going forward, which, look, again, his age, look at his age. He doesn't fit the long-term picture. A lot of people are going to say we're rebuilding. Fair enough. We need leadership. Fair enough. Go resign Anthony Gill. I mean, if you want to get max value, so that's my thing, everybody. That's my rant, is that this situation turned into Bradley Beal 2.0, man. And it's like, we're, the asking price is way too high, in my opinion. To me, realistically, you're looking at a first-round pick and probably a young player. Let's be real, because if you want to get that second first-round pick, you're going to have to take on a bad contract. You're going to have to take on a bad contract because you make that type of move for God, that's going to send you over the top. And they very well could do that. Detroit is a scenario where I could see that happen. There could be a couple guys on that team where they're deemed bad contracts, and in exchange for a first-round pick, we take on that contract. And with us being in a rebuilding team, that's not a bad situation. You definitely want to take on a bad contract to get more draft assets. But like I said, there's no need to move him. We're in a rebuild. But let's be honest with ourselves here, man. Like, what is the long-term picture here? Like, what are we doing? I mean, you have to have a goal in mind what the long-term picture as far as his place within the organization. Because, we're in the rebuild. We don't need to move him. But this whole, I'm going to assault him at the deadline, whether he wants to be traded or not. Come on, man. The front office is personnel. Do that. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I'm a big fan of this front office, man. Like I said, I've enjoyed my talks with Michael Winger. Will Dawkins to me is a really good GM, and he's going to develop into a really great GM, in my opinion. So the front office, man, is nothing against the front office, man, like I said, but it is really striking a scenario whereas poop will get off the pot. Like, you need to make a decision on Kyle Kuzma, because if we wait, it's turning more and more into a Bradley Beal situation, man, where you're waiting too long to move on. You have to move on from, like, what is the expectation here? Because again, while Kyle Kuzma has been, a really good player here in DC, we're also a 15-win team. I mean, let's be real about that. He's the best player on a 15-win team. He's not a player that we build around, so that takes out the whole long-term picture. And we have to get max value. And if you're thinking that we're going to get 2 lottery picks for this kid, it's not happening, man. It's not happening. And, so we have to be realistic about what we're trying to do. I mean, if we're going to rebuild, I get leadership. I get all that, man. You have leaders on the team. Martin Bagley III has been around for a minute. I mean, Jordan Poole, again, we talk about championship DNA. He has got that. Deni has emerged as trying to be a leader. I mean, Anthony Gill. I mean, there's other ways to attain leadership on the bench, man. I mean, you have to move them. So that's where I'm at. That's my rant for the day. Like I said, big fan of the front office. There's no shade on them. Big fan of Kyle Kuzma. I've enjoyed him here in DC, but we got to figure out what we're trying to do. We got to be realistic with the asking price here, man. Like, we're doing this all over again. I mean, you have to poop or get off the pot. And we've got to figure out what is the option. What are we trying to do with Kyle Kuzma? What is the long-term fit and what is the long-term vision with him within the organization? I mean, we got to be honest here, because look, Deni's emerging, man. He's emerging. Bilal, Corey Kispert, it has to be a youth movement to a certain degree, man. So I'm going ahead and end my rant right there, man, because like I said, I'm a fan of both the front office and Kyle Kuzma, man. But I think that we need to figure out what we're trying to do with Kyle Kuzma, because it does kind of get a little annoying after a while, because it's like we're still asking 2 first-round picks for this guy, man. Like, get some draft assets, get a young player in return, and just get this thing rolling. Let's get this thing rolling, man. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Comment below, let me know what you're thinking, man. I get it. Like, 90% of y'all gonna you're going to see where I'm coming from. And it's going to be that one person out of left field is going to be like, oh, man, trying to trade everybody on the team, Brandon. Oh, so look, that's where I'm at. Comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking, man. Because, like I said, I've enjoyed him here in DC, man. But it gets to a point, man, where you're going to have to move him. And you're going to have to move him to get max value. So we're going to get into, is Deni Avdija and Corey Kispert untouchable commodities? Or if the deal's good, could they still be tradable? So we're going to talk about that next. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So it's winner take all in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel's giving you the shot to bring home a big win of your own. Because right now it's the NBA Finals and the NHL playoffs, man. So right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Lord have mercy. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, everybody, we're going to get back into it. And like I said, I'm going to put a poll out, and I want to know what you guys are thinking, man. Are you guys with me? Are you thinking along the lines I am? Like I said, I'm big on dialogue, man. So I want to know what you guys think. So after the video, I'm going to put out a poll. I'm actually going to put a couple of polls out, man. One is going to be, do you think that Tristan Vucevic could be the starting center next year? And two, is this the year that we trade Kyle Kuzma? So is Deni Avdija and Corey Kispert untouchable? We're going to get into that. And looking at a report, this is also through Brett Siegel. So definitely shout out to Brett Siegel. Good content, NBA Insider. And it says, quote unquote, rival teams that inquired about Deni Avdija and Corey Kispert ahead of the trade deadline were turned down fairly quickly, as the Wizards do not hold much interest in dealing either player at this juncture. So does that mean that they are untouchable? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to think that, I'm going to say this, man. You're looking at, a possible Josh Giddey trade. Obviously, Josh Giddey with his connection to Will Dawkins from the OKC years, man. With him kind of on his way out, OKC being a young player that will probably require a first-round pick to move him, which, again, it would be another way to get another first-round pick. But are they untouchable? I'm going to say no. Teams want Deni. Deni has shown that he's finally broken out offensively. And this is definitely the year where he wants to solidify himself as that 3-and-D guy. He's broken out. Now it's about consistency. And I think he very well could do it. I think this is, if last year was a breakout campaign, this is his welcoming party, man, because he's about to put the league on notice, my opinion, because I think that he's a really good young talent. Bilal, you're going to see definitely a step in the right direction in his development. And Corey Kispert, man, obviously we know we can do offensively. I think you're going to see some progress on the defensive end. But are they untouchable? No. I think that, Corey Kispert, look at, this is his contract year. So he'll be a restricted free agent at the end of this next season coming up. So you very well. And I think that they definitely should explore signing him to an extension, in my opinion, because you definitely need a guy who, again, can be that sniper, that guy who is shown, high basketball IQ, a guy who slashes to the basket, driving to the basket, moving out the ball. And, his ball handling's gotten better. His defense, while he's not a lockdown defender, he has shown a lot more promise on the defensive end, man. So you've seen a lot of progress, not only from the offensive end, where we already know he was very polished, but Kispert has shown a lot more effort and energy on the defensive end. But are they untouchable? No. If the deal is really, really good, you make that move. But me personally, I see both Deni Avdija and Corey Kispert both as part of the young core going forward. And I think that, you got to retain both of them. Both Deni and Kispert, along with Bilal. And to a certain degree, I know some of y'all disagree, but Jordan Poole. I think that they form the young core in DC that is the foundation you build upon. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, talking about Kyle Kuzma, I like Kuz, man. And like I said, you don't need to move Kuz. But the biggest thing is, to me, and I'm doing the end of here, is getting max value, right? You have to get max value out of that person, because you're just going to turn into Bradley Beal 2.0, where you just you have to move them, and it's just like you have no other choice. So I think the Wizards, they're in a really good position, because one, they have a young core here in Deni, Corey Kispert, Bilal, Jordan Poole. List goes on. Patrick Baldwin Jr. I definitely want to see what we have in him. Jared Butler. The list goes on. And then the fact that we have 2 first-round picks in this draft coming up, and the 51st pick in the second round, we have the ability to add more young talent. So we're in a good position. We have a lot of leeway with the moves we can make. We're not bogged down by bad contracts. Some people do call the Jordan Poole contract a bad contract, and maybe to a certain degree it is right now. But I think the long-term outlook with Jordan Poole is he's going to be part of this organization going forward because this front office and this organization does like Jordan Poole. And I myself, I think he's a very good young player where he's on the cusp of being great, in my opinion. It's going to take further development, and we definitely have the atmosphere for him to succeed. So are they untouchable? No. I definitely think teams are going to continue to call for Deni and Kispert. And if you find that one right deal, you very well can see them moved. But I think that they're going to be very hesitant. And I'll be very hesitant too, because again, Deni Avdija, Corey Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly, and Jordan Poole, amongst other players, form a really nice young core and a foundation to build upon as we take the first step towards contention down the road in this rebuild. So untouchable, no, but I do not see them being moved, man. I think that this front office is going to, in my humble opinion, should definitely start working on a contract, a rookie extension with Corey Kispert, in my opinion. And Deni Avdija, in my opinion, I want to see a lot more responsibility this year as far as him stepping up and be more a leader. Him having more of a place in his offense. I definitely want to see him featured as a secondary ball handler. I definitely want to see a lot more responsibility in the offense, in my opinion, for the Washington Wizards, man. So like I said, that's kind of where I'm at, everybody. So definitely comment below. Let me know what you're thinking, man. So we're going to talk about my final thoughts on what we talked about today and kind of looking forward this week. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So, I've been a big catalyst. You guys, we've done this many times. You guys know about my past, been in the military, growing up a little bit, there was a time that talking to a counselor, talking to a therapist was taboo. People look at you funny and ask you what's going on. But now that's not the case anymore, man, because therapy is becoming more of not only a norm in American society, but a necessity, because we all need somebody to talk to, man. Like myself, again, I'm an Iraq War veteran. I've dealt with my fair share of issues, man, and I can't recommend enough how much it helps to talk to somebody, right? So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try, please. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So get it off your chest, everybody, with BetterHelp. I definitely recommend it. So all you have to do is visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. And for my vets out there, Hotel Echo Lima Papa.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, everybody. To kind of give you my final synopsis, man, of what we talked about today. Like I said, looking at the Kyle Kuzma situation, you don't need to move him, and I've enjoyed him here in DC. And I really hate the fact that I have to continue to, reassert that I like him. And look, I'm a basketball analyst, man. I'm all in all, we're supposed to be, and we should be, unbiased. Now, we all have players we like, and I would never be to the point where, look, I like him. I like him as a player. I've always liked Kyle Kuzma, man, but I didn't like him in the LA Lakers years. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. But since he's come to DC and really seeing who he is, not only on the court and off the court, I like him. But here's the thing, man. This is a business. This is a business. People get traded. People get released. This is a business. The NBA is a business at the end of the day, just like the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the National Hockey League, and the NCAA. So it's a business. I get it. So you got to be realistic of what we're trying to do here in DC, man. And I think that we have everything in place. Brian Keefe's head coach, love it. I definitely think that was a good move in his organization. The big three in the front office with Travis Schlenk, Will Dawkins, and Michael Winger, big fan of them, man. And I want to continue to see them change his organization for the best, man. They're knocking everything out of the park, in my opinion, as far as milestones, creating a culture, creating the atmosphere where people want to get better, when people want to play with each other. But here's the thing, man, we also need to, create an atmosphere where, we got to be realistic here. Like, if we want to go forward, we've got to go forward. And so to a certain degree, we have to move Kyle Kuzma where his value is at his peak, and that is right now. And that is being 100%. Now, we can wait a year. And we very well could wait a year because, again, we don't need to make him, or we don't need to make him available to other teams. But here's the thing with value, at what point has it reached a zenith? So that's where I'm at, everybody. Comment below. Let me know what you think. That's my rant, because I like him as a player. I love him here in DC. And, I've been, I've celebrated every milestone as far as Kyle Kuzma. Setting his roots in the community, man. Much love on my part. So like I said, I've enjoyed seeing what he's done not only for the DC community but for the community of Flint, Michigan. Because let's be real, both communities need help, man. They need help. So I'm not gonna get all political about it, but so that's where I'm at as far as Kyle Kuzma. Now looking at Deni and Kispert, man, yeah, again, they're not untouchable, but they're definitely part of the young foundation going forward, man. So I think you definitely retain them and keep them here in DC, man, in my opinion. So definitely comment below. Like I said, I'm gonna put a couple polls out as soon as I end this video to see what you guys are thinking, not only about Tristan Vucevic, whether he should be a starter next year, but also about Kyle Kuzma and has his value reaches zenith in your opinion. So definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Now, tomorrow night we will be doing a live reaction to Brian Keefe's intro press conference. I will be there at noon in DC to celebrate Brian Keefe being named the new head coach of the Washington Wizards, and I believe general manager Will Dawkins will be there. So I will try to get some questions in, but I also will be getting all the reactions and feedback from their questions and answers. So we definitely will react to their press conference and the questions thrown at not only the new head coach Brian Keefe, but general manager Will Dawkins. So definitely tune in for that. So looking forward, guys. This week we're going to look at some more draft prospects, man. Looking at Isaiah Collier, Bud Carrington's, a few of them. So definitely we're getting close to the draft. So I'm starting on Mondays. We're going to do mock draft Monday. So we're going to try to do a mock draft every Monday and see how things are shaking in the NBA, because things are subject to change, man. Who's number one right now, or who's mock drafted to be number one now, could very well change in 30 days. I'm just trying to tell you. So again, the draft is getting here. It is later this month, so definitely rock with me. And as you guys know, man, we're gonna go live on a draft night, man. So, and because actually the NBA draft is 2 days now, so we're definitely gonna go live on consecutive nights. So that is the criteria, or not the criteria, but the itinerary for this week. Definitely tune in tomorrow night that we're gonna go live for the reaction to Brian Keefe's, or head coach Brian Keefe's press conference, and we're gonna get into some more draft prospects, looking at Isaiah Collier from University of Southern Cal. So again, appreciate you guys as always, man. Definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys think, man. Am I right to rant, or am I tripping? Y'all definitely let me know, man. So again, much love for you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time.